Oh, gosh.
No. I'm gonna make sure my shit's before.
Guys, it's like the fourth time we try to record this episode right now because we keep having technical difficulties.
And this isn't even, anybody hating on us. Like the last time we tried to record and it didn't work out.
Oh, sure didn't.
God.
Jeez. But for those of you who are watching, and I'm surprised how many people actually watch versus just listen.
Yes.
Actually, I'm not, because Carlie is beautiful.
Lex, I'm saying, the Rihanna picture.
We're done. Wow. So we just always go back to the past.
We not, but we just started. That's a good foundation.
I don't look
you
good
always
today.
look good, Lex.
Okay.
If y'all watch the video, you can see that she look good. She got on a dress and everything.
I know, that I've had on for the last too long.
36 hours.
Dang, chill, but people don't think I take showers and stuff. I've been busy. I've been working. You're annoying. Gosh, you're annoying.
So,
guys, we're tired. We're delirious. It is now 10:05 p.m. on a Saturday night. When we tried to record earlier, we were like, "Oh, it's 9 o'clock on a." No, it's 10:05 p.m. Western time. No, it's not even Western time. It's Pacific.
It's like wait, what is that?
Pacific.
So, Lex, what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about burnout and how you feel like you just can't do anymore, essentially, which is kind of, I think, how we both have been feeling lately.
Oh, my God.
And we like to talk about topics that make sense with, like, what's going on with this because it's easier. And it's actually, like we said before, it's kind of therapeutic for us just being in here talking and, getting ideas about things. So hopefully for anybody who is feeling burnout as well, or, you're not sure if you're at that point of where you're like, man, I'm just like tapped out, we can give you some ideas on how to overcome that. And hopefully I could take my own advice and figure my shit out.
That's always the hardest advice to take is your own.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. I feel like life is funny in the sense that every time I ever give advice, like when someone asks, I always have to eat that advice like 3 days later. Like within 3 days, I'm like, dang.
It's like you're tested sometimes. Like, or when you find yourself being too busy trying to tell somebody like what they need to do and you be like, oh. That applies to me as well.
Shout out to myself.
Right.
So it's like anytime I like post stuff on Instagram or I tweet stuff, 99.100% of the time I'm talking to myself.
That's what I say about Twitter too. I'm always talking to myself.
I'm always talking to myself.
So for anybody who texts me like, oh, is that about? No.
Nah.
100% not thinking about you.
100% not a sub. I'm subbing myself.
Right. 200% not. But yeah, we've been kind of stressed. So just to give an idea about why we may feel like how we're feeling, like what was the last couple of days like for you, or even like this week since it's the end of the week?
Man,
I never know what day it is.
I'm like, I don't even know what day it is at this point. I'm here though. That's all that matters. I've been opening the gym most of the days this week because I'm covering some shifts, which I love. Like, and don't get me wrong, all the stuff you're about to hear is not complaining. I'm just giving y'all an example of my week. So I opened the gym probably 3-4 days this week. Like I said, I love my clients. It's great. But my brain works best really early in the morning and really late at night, which don't always work out well together. So I'm up early in the morning. The gym opens at 5. So I'm, getting up at 4 to get my little routine together, teach all my classes, which is amazing because then I'm done really early in the day to do all the rest of the things that I do. And so finish that, and then I'll go to my co-working space, working out at Vector 90. Shout out Vector 90. They're in South Central. They're amazing. Go there, work on my client's projects. My client has a book launching soon. She does an event in November called 30 Days of Thanks, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. So I'm preparing all the stuff for that, working on stuff for my own company. I also coach volleyball. We had 3 games this week. 3. And then I also coached cheer this week. I helped out a little bit with that. So it's just been nonstop from before the sun rises till well after it sets. And like, not yesterday, but day before, I passed out at like 8 p.m. Like, I don't, contacts in, laptop open, like face on my laptop, cell phone not plugged in. Woke up at 3:00 in the morning, like, where am I? Like, who is this? Like,
That's when you know it's
oh
bad
my
too, because I
God.
like never forget to like wipe my face off and all that. But when you like really pass out,
Yeah, like exhausted.
oh my
What does your
gosh.
week look like?
Well, so for me, I've been like super busy / productive, mostly because one of my clients, her company launches on the 28th, which it
Ayy.
might be after this episode comes out. But so my 20 hours of work has been more like 60 to 80. And, it's been a lot of actual moving around. A lot of my clients are in different areas, right? In the United States. And for her, she's in Los Angeles. Check out suitkits.com, get you something made if you're a woman, because it's women's tailored suits. But we've been, and I don't even drive here, so I'm like getting on the metro like at 7 in the morning to like go to these meetings, go downtown, meet with tailors, meet with the distribution centers, going to these places with her just because I can, and because now I can help her even get even more content. So it's been like a lot of meetings with her, a lot of meetings with her web guys. It basically, and she said this in another meeting too, which I appreciate when your clients do kind of edify you as well. But she was like, yeah, she was my social media person, but it's almost like she's just my marketing coordinator now. And, I like her being around because she has a good eye for stuff. And
Yes.
I'm like, cool, but I'm like, my eyes are barely open. So it's been a lot of like doing all of that stuff, moving around with her, and then other clients, of course, a lot of calls, consulting sessions, just moving around so much lately, and probably like going to sleep like a couple hours before you wake up to go to the gym, and then like having to just do it all over again every day, like day after day after day after day. It's just been a lot, like mentally a lot. Like I was tweeting the other day, I've been like permanently feeling tired the last few weeks, like just like exhausted, maybe more than I've ever felt before. So, both of us today, even like doing this today, right? Like we said, it's 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday. I think it's Saturday. And,
Yes,
even today, like I ran around to meetings. I was trying to do laundry, had to meet with my friend, shout out John Holland, who's a great video editor, to work on editing a video. We're working from like 4 to 7, working on this video. Running back here to try to meet with you, had to pull my sheets out of the dryer, still wet, like, just to get things done. After this, I know I've got even more work to do. We'll probably be up pretty late this evening. So,
Yeah.
It's just like, where's that line between trying to get everything done, but then knowing like, all right, I need to chill out. So what does burnout feel like for you? Would you say you're technically burnt out?
I would think so. I'm gonna go with the hard yes for 400, please.
Hard yes.
Hard yes. Yeah, I'm exhausted, and I am grateful, and I'm still excited, but I just like am physically exhausted, and I think that's the difference. Instead of having like a long day, because there's a difference in like being tired and having a long day, and then just being exhausted. And it's crazy because like all of these things we're doing are amazing, and we're excited about them, and they're all like in alignment. But at the same time, it's tricky trying to find that balance, and I start to notice that I'm exhausted when like I'm not my best self in these situations.
Yes, that's exactly. That's why I knew. I was like, nah, I gotta do something different because like stuff is slipping.
Dog.
Like I got other clients like, hey, you didn't answer this email from like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, oh my
Ooh,
gosh,
exactly.
Like, and everything just piles and piles and piles.
And I'm like avoiding like responding to an email because I'm like, oh, I didn't do that, or
Boy, I had like 80 texts this morning. I was like, man, let me clean these out. And my friend Daria, because I was helping her do blog photos this morning, she's like, oh, you have your read receipts on too. And I was like, yeah, I do that. So people, for me, my reason for doing that is because I want you to know, hey, I have not seen it yet. So if I do respond like 2 days later, you still see I just read it.
Yeah.
But she was like, no, she saw it the other way. So I'm like, I don't know. But if I left you on read, I'm sorry. But I usually just don't read it until I can answer it.
Yeah, and it's, not a light-skinned thing. She just be busy.
Man, busy, dog. And I was talking about that again today, too, where, I had a friend hit me earlier and was like, hey, come to Parlor. We're, because, all the games are starting now. LA's turned up. LeBron James.
LA Bron.
But they were like, oh, come for a drink. And I was like, I was thinking about it. But then I was like, no, I got to be here for this video stuff in like an hour. That takes me 30 minutes to get there. Come back. I was like, no, I can't. He's like, oh, okay, well, in a couple of days you want to? Nope. Like, I literally have like every hour is full through through going to court on Thursday. Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. If y'all don't hear any more episodes, though, you know what's up. You're gonna be like, free Lex. Yo, please make
Hashtag free Lex.
Please make some shirts.
Some shirts. I got
you. Oh my gosh, that would be fire.
I got you. Lala knows how to make shirts.
That would be fire. But
Got
yeah,
you.
like people think I'm playing, but it's like, it's not even about you. Like, I am too busy to do anything extra.
Yeah, and like I think we both kind of touched on the same thing. Like it's whenever, for me, my exhaustion looks like, or my burnout looks like exactly like exhaustion, and when I'm not bringing my best self to everything that I'm doing, which is interesting because I think every line of work you're bringing yourself to people, but whenever you're a trainer, a yoga teacher, a coach, you're literally bringing yourself to other people. And so
it's your responsibility to have a certain energy or something.
Yeah, because if I come to practice and I'm like, all right, y'all, let's do this. Or if I go train you at 5 o'clock in the morning.
People do that with us.
Yeah,
so.
I don't like lackluster energy.
That's like when you go out and like the waitress or somebody has an attitude and you're like, well, you don't need to be here today. But it's like, yeah, I feel you at the same time.
Yeah, but I feel you
now.
But also like not, and I've made a conscious effort that even though I'm exhausted, I'm like, what I'm not about to do is let that stuff slip. Especially for kids, because I work with kids. I'm like, what I'm not about to do is not show up for them and not show up for all my clients who pay good money and get their behinds up to come get in shape and reach goals so early in the morning. Like, I just wouldn't be doing myself a service or them. So I've been making sure to bring it. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, Lord.
Yeah, I think burnout for me looks pretty similar. And later we're going to talk about like levels of burnout as well and like some of the technical things that like can mean that you might be burnt out right now. But first of all, let's give you a real definition outside of just like what it feels like for us, but what the dictionary actually says. Carlie, take it away.
The technical definition of burnout is a state of chronic stress leading to physical and emotional exhaustion. Check. Cynicism and detachment. Feelings of ineffectiveness and lack of accomplishment.
Sounds like a downward spiral of you don't feel good, but then you also are like, kind of like how we talked about with procrastination before, like you just want to be like, take a nap or do something else or have a drink. And then it just gets worse and worse and worse. And
the difference, I think, and now that we're reading the technical definition, is it talks about when you experience long-term stress. And so if you are working at a job, like if you're a trader or you work in finance or you're in law school and you have these like long-term stresses and it just keeps building and building until it finally breaks you down. Another definition says, and you feel deeply disillusioned as a result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll do it.
It actually goes into a little bit deeper talking about there's 5 levels.
Yeah. So which I think is pretty cool because anytime I feel some kind of way, I'm just that person. I'll straight up Google like, why do I feel like I can't remember anything? Why does my chest hurt? Why can't I sleep? Like I really Google that kind of stuff.
I wonder if that's true that Google has the little board where you can see what people are Googling like at any time.
What do you mean by board?
Or like a I can't remember like where I read it, but I read that they have this thing that like at the
where they're
home
showing
office.
like top searches.
Where you can see like searches like at any given time. Because I'd be Googling some random like I feel tired and
exactly. I'll put in the exact question and then you always find it. Like you don't have to know real terms. You just type it in and then there you go. But 5 levels of burnout. So we're gonna read these 5 out to see where you feel like you might fall in. Maybe you're not burnt out, you feel great, and you just want to turn this episode off. Cool. If you know somebody who might be though, or maybe you know somebody who seems stressed out at the job,
or you've been there and you've gotten yourself out of it, please reply #Carlie's Couch.
Let me know. Let me know what you did.
Screenshot the episode. Oh, and you should check out the video because although we do not have our couch yet, we have a table now.
Oh, we do.
We have a table and a lamp. It's pretty lit in here. It's pretty lit.
And I have my coffee mug with a C on it.
For Carlie.
For Clancy. But it's cool. Actually, it's not even mine, so I don't even know. I don't know what it really stands for, to be honest with you. But yeah, we don't have a couch yet, but we're making our way up there.
And I only mention that because I've had several people reach out and say, how is it Carlie's couch, but y'all don't even have a couch?
It's audio, first of all. We didn't even have to give you video.
And see, the second part, she said first, but second of all, if you look at the picture, clearly we have a couch somewhere.
Thank you. We did some promo and had a couch.
Come on now.
God, just adding to our stress right now, which we don't need at level 18 of burnout. First level of burnout. Who feels this way? Actually, that's what I want. I want people, if you screenshot the episode, put a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And you don't have to tell nobody what it's about. But I just want to know what y'all think.
Yeah.
Level 1. Driven. You're working flat out in a nonstop blur of accomplishment. You feel like you can go on like this forever. But you can't. Ooh, that's like when you're like, turned up because you're
Going
like sometimes you know how you feel like good because you have a lot of stuff to do and you're like, oh, bet, like I'm busy. I kind of feel that.
Yeah.
You still feel like you can do it. What's number 2, Carlie?
Number 2, dragging. You're killing sugar and caffeine to fight fatigue. You're maybe popping over-the-counter sleep aids to help you sleep faster. And you're feeling unpleasantly chubby.
Oh, you get bloated off of being burnt out?
Yeah.
First of all, I'm drinking caffeine right now, so whatever.
Oh, I know. Let me hide my little cup.
Is it to fight? Yeah, so I agree with that because fighting fatigue. I don't have problems going to sleep though.
Oh
Thank
no,
God.
I be passing
Hallelujah.
out. That is such a gift.
Well, I ain't never needed a sleep aid because I just need to lay my head down on anything, essentially.
Praise God.
Level number 3 is losing it. You're definitely tired, visibly plump, or alarmingly pre-skeletal. What does that mean? I guess if you're not
Skinny?
eating.
Yeah.
You might be overeating. And perpetually grumpy. You lie awake at night, your thoughts are racing, you're longing for sleep. At work and at home, you've developed a charming habit of biting people's heads off. So this is like being irritated.
That's real though. Like whenever you're, was it sleepy, or tired, angry,
You're always more snappy.
or I was about to say, but my therapist has a little acronym that's like if you're angry, tired, hungry, or something like that, like path. I'll think of it, but if you're any of those things, like before you jump to anxiety or depression or any of those things, first mitigate being tired, being hungry,
Yeah.
being
I see.
like, you know what I mean? Like there's the things that make you get those symptoms of depression.
It's
and
almost like
things
the
that.
hierarchy of needs. Like there's certain things you need to take care of, and then you'll feel better with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep. And then the next one is,
Numero
hitting the
4.
wall. You're racked by aches and pains. You're gaining or losing weight. Prone to temper tantrums or crying jags. I may or may not have had one of those yesterday and today. You're hard pressed to remember things like passwords or your children's names. Oh no.
Dang. So with that one, yeah, I actually have cried. Or I tried. Somebody called me a sociopath on Twitter because I told him I tried to get a tear out, but it was hard.
I got enough for both of us.
But I have been on that
Sociopath?
edge, and also, I've been walking around like just not remembering what I was going into rooms for. Again, I think you're right with what you just said. I think it's this, but I get a lot of sleep. That's how the less sleep I get, the more I'm just overall just not all the way there.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I've gotten a lot of sleep, and so that's why to me I'm like, I'm burnt out because I can get 10 hours, 8 hours, whatever, and still I'm waking up like just tired. Like,
Yeah, it's also the
not
quality
enough.
of your sleep, right? Like if you're so exhausted
Maybe.
and you've had so much caffeine, sometimes.
Well, I do have a good app for that too.
Oh, which app?
I have to look at my phone, which I'm using right now to videotape this, but I want to say it's called Sleep. Dang, look in the show notes.
Yeah, look in the show notes,
I'll
and we'll
figure it out.
also send it
It's
in
cool
the
because
newsletter.
you lay it on a table with the mic of your phone towards you, and it reads when you're very active versus when you're like in deep
that's
stillness.
cool.
So and then it tells you your stats over time. So it'll be like, all right, you got 5 hours, and it'll show you like on days what time you kind of tend to go to sleep. It records if you're snoring or not. So it tells you snoring like what percent, and then it tells you what percent of your sleep is good. So they'll be like, your sleep score was like 20% or it was 70%. I used to use that to try to see like how high I can get. And also it has an alarm, but the alarm is different because let's say instead of saying wake up at 5:30, I'll tell it you have to give it a 30-minute thing. So between 5:15 and 5:45. And what it does is it notices when you're moving more, and then the alarm slowly goes then. So it's not like a jolt, but it's like, all right, you're starting to move. Here's your alarm.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
At like the most optimal time.
Man, technology is so dope.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's free. I'll let y'all know what the name of it is.
Yeah.
Because I used to post up screenshots of mine being like, damn, I only got 20% last night. But number 5, burned out. By now, you may have a serious illness. Ooh. Actually, yeah, I was looking up hypothyroidism the other day. I thought something was crazy. To stay marginally functional, you might depend on drugs you obtain from a shrink or innocently believe that you're just depressed. Yeah, From a man you knew.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what they're talking about. I'm just gonna start this over and say what I want to say.
Yep.
Number 5, burnt out. By now, you may have some kind of serious illness, which actually I was looking up hypothyroidism the other day because I was like, this isn't right. You may depend upon any drugs that you might get or drinking or any crazy habits. You might feel like people don't like you. You may feel like you're depressed. And you just feel like there's just like nowhere to go at this point. So I think it takes a while. Like it has to be back-to-back days to really feel like this is bad. Like I don't even know. I think that's what makes me think it's burnout because I'm like I feel kind of hopeless. Like how do I even get out of this? Like I'm in such a rut with just trying to catch up or stay on top of work, but also feeling like I just don't have the energy to actually do it.
Yeah, but now that we've like read these, I feel like I'm probably around number 3. Like I'm losing it.
She said 3. She went up.
Yeah, like because I'm not. Like they said, like signs of a burnout, like the chronic fatigue, insomnia, forgetfulness, impaired concentration, a little bit.
Which of those would you say you might have? I mean, not to be all in your business, but
I mean, that's fine. Impaired concentration, a little bit. Like it's been hard to sit down and get focused. Loss of appetite, a little bit, but working out helps me mitigate some of that. Mm-hmm. But the rest of that, like I don't. Well. And being like snippy, like being quick to like irritable. I've been a lot more irritable than I normally am, but I don't have like.
Yeah, I have right now. I have chronic fatigue. I have forgetfulness, impaired concentration. I have had increased illness. I've had anxiety. I have been a little worse with depression, anger, chest pain, heart palpitations, shortness of breath, dizziness. Not fainting. I'm not that wild. And headaches lately because what happens with me is like when I'm like stressed, like my body, like my chest gets really tight and like I get like anxiety like in my body. So yeah, I've had a lot of those lately actually.
And that's how you know it's time
to make a change. So maybe I'm between 4 and 5.
Yeah, but that's how you know like it's time to make a change.
Yeah, like I've been abusing. I don't want to say abusing. I have been smoking a lot more actually lately, but a little bit more lately. More as like escapism. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
But why are you burning out?
I think I'm burning out because I've overextended myself. I have bitten off more than I can chew, but I also think that I can do everything and I can get it all done. And I think it's not so much trying to like people please. Like I'm not saying like yes to everything because I'm like trying to prove anything, but I really thought like, oh, this isn't going to be as much work as it ended up being, or this won't be as demanding, and it has been. Like, I mean, my 20 hours of client work is more like 60 to 80 right now for like one of my clients, and then I just have so many people. It sucks because I've had a lot of people who have been hitting me up about wanting proposals or let's have a conversation about work to do, and in my mind I'm like, man, like that was like a couple weeks ago. I can't even get to sending you a proposal. Like, how can I even do all this work? So I know when every night I'm going to bed and feel like there's still a zillion things that need to get done, then I'm just like, that's why I'm burning out because I'm just trying to do too much.
Yeah, I was about to say, but it's crazy because I get into this state, and I'll just speak for myself, but I can get into this state and just know that at the end of the day, there's going to always be something that we didn't get finished. And logically, I know that I can't do everything, but I still beat myself up for not being able to. So it's kind of like I created this this situation for myself.
I don't think I'm blaming anybody else about anything.
No, but like I said, I didn't want to say that you created that for yourself. I just know I personally created mine.
Did.
By, for me, and here's the thing, the problem is I actually think I probably could do it all, but I don't know if I have the right systems in place
that too.
To help me balance everything correctly. Like, I have enough hours in the day. Like, there's that thing that's like, oh, we all have the same amount of hours in the day as Beyonce, but if you don't put a schedule and shape your hours in the way that you need to be productive and
don't have the resources.
That's also true.
That they have to delegate and to, get everything done the same way.
Yeah. Because, I am meal prepping my own meals.
But definitely as a business owner or entrepreneur as well, I think burnout is one of those signs of, okay, let me re-examine my systems. Like for me, I couldn't, if I had 20 people say I want to be a client tomorrow, like I couldn't do it. And so that's a problem. Like how can I what could I do so that if I had $1 million project tomorrow, I could take it and confidently be able to like do everything I need to get done. So that's definitely always a sign of just re-examining how much you're doing, better ways to do things, et cetera, or even just learning about yourself so you can figure out, okay, how to make more to have the right resources or the right people on your team, et cetera.
Yeah, that reminds me of the book you shouted out, the E-Myth, though, also. Is like thinking about whenever you're being an entrepreneur, or not even being an entrepreneur, but having multiple streams of income, it's good to have systems set up to where you don't always have to be there and you're not getting paid by the hour, because that leads to exhaustion. Like your product, your ideas, like your systems are scalable. You yourself are not necessarily scalable, my friend.
Yeah, man. So it's weird, I guess, to talk about how you can combat this. For me, I'm going to think about, and some of the things I had jotted down were things that I have been kind of doing lately that have helped, I'm going to say like ease it, because I'm still very much feeling burnt out right now. Like we said, after this, I have like a few hours of things to do that I can't wait till tomorrow because I need to send them to people tonight or before tomorrow. So for you, what are some things that maybe you thought about for ways to combat burnout?
Man, because this is a situation that I can't say it's always avoidable, because you can't control life, right? And you can't control the things that it throws at you. But I would say setting boundaries is a big one for me, and prioritizing my time. Because if I know what my priorities are, then I'm able to set boundaries in a way that helps me get those things done. And for example, like my client has a really big project coming up, has a book launch, has all of that. Like I need to set time aside now to make sure that it gets done. So whenever it comes to the wire, I'm not staying up till 4:00 in the morning. Whenever I have to be at work at 5 in the morning the next day to do things. And so that's a really big one, is figuring out like what my goals are, like reconnecting with myself and making sure everything I'm doing is in alignment, because I do have an issue of saying yes to a lot of things that aren't necessarily always in alignment. But for right now, I actually feel that they are. And so a way to get around that, or to better manage it, is to prioritize my time better.
I had that as well, about boundaries, with the thought that I need to recognize how much is on my plate now in order to be able to set better boundaries in the future. And I think maybe what that looks like for me is not setting, because I think a lot of times I'll set the scope, but reinforcing the scope that I'm doing this much stuff. Like, this is all I can do right now, because I can't let other people's stuff slip the way that I have before. So really making sure that you actually enforce those things. And like one of the biggest things for me too is like when I've told people that I'm feeling burned out, I keep hearing like, take a break. And I'm like, how do you take a break from what's stressing you out if what's stressing you out is things that you need to get done? And that's kind of like a issue that I've been having recently. Because I'm like, well, I have to still get this stuff done. So it's not like just a take a break. To me, taking a break is pretty much the same as my procrastination, where I'm still putting this on to later, and now I'm still going to be in the exact same place. So for me, it's more of focusing on action and trying not to look at this long list, but to focus on making shorter to-do lists, just day by day, and focusing on what I really can actually reasonably get done, and telling clients, for example, hey, this is not getting to you tomorrow. Like, if you ask for something by this day, no. Because I tend to, I guess that maybe that is a little bit of people pleasing. I'll be like, yep, I can get it to you tomorrow. And that night I'm like,
oh God,
why did I even say that? And sometimes they need it, but like for the times that you don't, it's like, no, because I'm a human being too. Like, I'll get it to you in a few days or whenever I can get it to you. But what's another one?
But just making sure you're communicating that. But you said the shorter to-do list. So 2 articles I've read recently are about multitasking and how like that is the killer of productivity. Like, people,
I hate multitasking.
Dude, you're actually not good at, everybody who says that they're good at multitasking, scientific research proves that that is not true. Like, nobody can focus on anything and do it 100% while you're doing 12 other things. Like, it just doesn't work. And I think even our phone, like, I've been looking at my screen time thing like a lot lately, and I pick up my phone on average, like, was it like 124 times a day or something crazy like that?
Chump change.
And I'm like, oh my God. But so stop multitasking. That's for one. And I'm just preaching
Another
to myself.
term for that is it's called task switching, because anytime somebody who's tried to work with me or whatever, and they say, oh, I'm a good multitasker, I'm like, yeah, I don't even want you to say that, because I need for you to like focus on something for a certain amount of time and then like go do something else. Even if it's like a certain, 20 minutes, whatever, focus on one thing till it's done, because when you get things done, that's kind of like building more confidence in you too. So yeah, you're totally right about that. Like I tell people all the time, like, yeah, multitasking is not what's up at all.
Is a no-go. And the second one is the shorter to-do list. And so in that vein, realistically, we might make a to-do list with like 20 things, but you cannot get all of them done. And Warren Buffett has like a little quote, I don't know if it's from an interview or something, where he's like, write down, the top 20 things that are important to you and that you need to get done. And then only like scribble out everything but the top 3, because those are the only 3 that are going to get done, and those are the most important because they're the top 3. So I challenge you guys to do that and think about what your top 3 things are that you need to focus and finish this week.
Along that, a couple things. So there's also something called the power list, where every day you can put down 5 things that you need to get done, and that could be as simple as like you going to the gym, things that you need to focus on making sure you get done. Yep. It doesn't have to be like very minute little things. So that's something that I've done for a while, and it's like if you get them all done, that's a W for the day. And then you look at your week, and it's like, all right, you might have had an L, but like if you had 4 or even 3 out of the 5 days, and that's still a W for that week. And so it just helps you to see all those W's. But one thing to keep it real about that, though, Carlie, too, is all those things sound so awesome, and I'll try to make a small list, but I literally have 20 things to get done. And so I think what's hard about burnout is that I feel like I'm so deep into it that I understand having a smaller to-do list, and these are things I'm saying, oh, this is helpful. But if I had to write down literally what I need to do, it's gonna be
way more than
20, 30 things. And so now,
Same.
I guess what is helpful though is saying, all right, which one of these is the most important, things to tackle first, maybe, and then I try to get that on something else. So I just see those couple of things, but it's not. It is hard. Like there's so many things right now. Just because I'm like behind in some stuff.
Same.
That how do you even determine what's the most important stuff to get done?
Deadlines. For me, there's a couple of things that I know have deadlines that I need to send. Like you said, that there are a couple of things that I have to finish after this tonight too, that have to get done. Like there's just no way around it. And it wasn't that it wasn't important to me, but I had so many other things to do this week. I just didn't get to it. So guess what? Tonight after the podcast, me and Lex about to be in here drinking a little bit more coffee and doing a little bit more work.
Man, I can't drink any more coffee. Explode. But with going along with the to-do list as well, for me, something that helps is taking a minute to when I start to get down on myself, because that's what I'll be like, oh man, like I still have so much to do, or I didn't get to all of it. Is taking a moment always, and this is probably on any list of anything we ever make, but taking a moment to think about what I'm grateful for and the gratitude behind like what I did get done. So thinking like, man, I was productive all day. Like I can't be mad about not getting everything done when I've literally been going since like 7 a.m. this morning, and I did this and this and this and this and this. And so I got stuff done. It's like, all right, just kind of refreshing your mind, especially before you go to bed, and realizing, all right, I can stop now. Like I got a lot of things done and I can just stop.
Yeah, I think that that's important. Gratitude is always, the first thing I wake up, I do gratitude last before I go to sleep. Whenever I don't just pass out, I do gratitude. But that's what I had on my list, like gratitude and being kind to yourself, because it's so easy to beat yourself up for everything. Like we're not perfect. We may have overpromised something, or like, yeah, I can get that done to you tomorrow, and didn't get it done. But at the end of the day, you're human, and the best way to go about that, what I've learned, because what would happen is, yeah, I can get that to you, and then I wouldn't get it, and I would just like freeze and not be able to do it, and I wouldn't send it. But now I just communicate, like, hey, I said I was going to get that to you tomorrow at 8. Actually, it'll be tomorrow at 5, but also giving the other person a heads up and letting them know so that they're not expecting anything, and so it doesn't reflect poorly on me and my brand.
Sometimes it is worse when you're like, you're just not going to say anything. And then later they're like, but
So
if you
what's
had just
up?
told them, they'd be like, oh, okay, well, can you, get to it however, but at least they know, and it's not like you're trying to hide.
Exactly.
When
And
you
that's
get to like hiding, then you're kind of.
that's problematic. And it also makes you feel worse because you're like, that's not really who I am as a person. But that's also, I know I'm burnt out when I start hiding, like shirking responsibilities and hiding and not replying to things. That happened when I was on a research project in graduate school. Like I just could not send an email, and I was like, what is wrong with me?
Yeah.
I was burnt out and I didn't know how to deal with it. And then, talking to my therapist helped. But yeah, so be kind to yourself throughout the process. Like at the end of the day, your worth is not determined by how much you get done. Like I know that that's what the world tells you, but your worth is inherent. Like, okay, so what? You missed a couple emails. Be
I
kind
think
to yourself.
maybe that's part of why we get down on ourselves, because sometimes we do let the work become our identity or whatever it is that's got you burnt out. What other things could have you burned out besides work, I guess?
Holding space for people and like
if you're that person,
yeah,
who's
if you're that
everybody's
person
weight.
who's everybody's person, like so you're being there for your family, for your friends, for your spouse, for your kids, for your boss, for everybody else in your life, but you're not being there for yourself. Like that can build up quickly. And so that's why I'm
gotta
like,
be hard. Like that's gotta be a lot to get to burnout, though, I would think. But everybody's also kind of different too.
yeah.
But so to that, because I was like, I couldn't think of anything. But I think when your identity gets really wrapped up in your work, or when your identity gets so wrapped up in like codependency or being that rock for everybody else, then you kind of just like start crumbling. So you again have to take that time to like get your inner peace together, meditate, like think about, who you are, what's important. You're getting things done, you're working, like it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, and that's part of it. It's like, well, I don't have time. Like, I can't take a moment to be peaceful because I have all these deadlines. But at the same time, like, think about what version of yourself you're bringing to all your deadlines if you actually don't take a moment to breathe. If you don't have 5 minutes, like Tony Robbins says, if you don't have 5 minutes in your day for you, you don't have a life. I think he actually says 10. But if you don't have 10 minutes in your day to spend for yourself, to breathe, to stretch, to run, to scream into a pillow, to write, to do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, you don't have a life. And so, yeah, you may not quote unquote have the time, but at the same time, like you're not bringing your best self to whatever you're doing. So why are you doing it anyways if you don't take that time for you?
And when I'm telling all my friends right now that I literally do not have a minute extra, because everybody today was like trying to get me to go watch basketball and do this and that. And I'm like, I literally have all my time blocked out through the next like 5 days till I go to court. And
Free Lex.
please purchase one of our airbrushed t-shirts if y'all don't hear me again in the
They're
next
like
couple
double
weeks.
XLs though.
I mean, that's the only way to wear
only
it.
way to wear
That's the
airbrush
only way to wear an airbrush t-shirt. Triple XL. Please don't disrespect me.
If y'all know anybody who airbrushes t-shirts,
Get my picture. Choose a good picture. But yeah, I didn't do it. Not guilty. But when I say that too, I do literally mean that, because I'll be like meeting. There's minutes in between, right? And that's like, if I'm gonna have time, that has to be me time. That has to be time where I'm like literally chilling out. I just won't have the energy for like the hanging out stuff.
Yeah.
But I also, I think part of what's helpful too, and something that helps me to cope, is looking a little bit into the future. I know we're supposed to say presence. I don't know if this is bad or good advice, but for me to know, all right, one of my clients, her company launches in a week. So I know, it's a lot right now, but then it's going to start smoothing out because we just, it's a very top heavy assignment. So that I know like it's not going to stay like this. And this is something I just need to power through for now. And hopefully I can kind of get back on track as need be. And sometimes like how with grad school and things like that in the past where, every once in a while you're like, I just got to stay up and study for this.
Just gotta do it.
Well, actually, I never studied, but like, damn, I was about to say write papers, but I didn't stay up for that either. I would go to sleep. I would have a 12-page paper due the next day and be like, well, 10 o'clock, I'm going to sleep. Like, I wouldn't even try to even stay up till like 12. I'd be like, going to sleep. And I would have dreams about my paper and wake up and type them in an hour and get an A. So
I mean, everybody ain't built like that, Lex.
and sometimes when I do that with life now, it sometimes, for the most part, it kind of works, but it's still just too stressful. So, I'll try to do it better. But
yeah,
I'm looking ahead like, all right, this isn't a forever thing. And like we kind of mentioned before, thinking about how this happened and not letting it happen again.
Yeah, 100%. And what I would say is in undergrad, I tried to do the whole, let me stay up all night and study for this
you
test.
Get even more
trash,
delirious.
bro. I had decent grades, like actually really decent. But like if I had just let myself get some sleep, I would have had better grades. And I realized that in grad school, I was like, I am not staying up 24 hours to do this. Like, I'm going to get my little nap. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get up and study in the morning and make it happen. But it's still, like, I think it's a constant process of learning to, set boundaries and prioritize your time. But we're not perfect, and things come up, and I think that life should be balanced. And so it's part of my advice for burnout or feeling tired is to play. And I know that sounds crazy. I know it does. But if you don't laugh a little bit, if you don't...
What is there to laugh about, Carlie?
Like,
I'm on the edge.
Like Linkin Park. But
finally, I was kind of there with you on that one.
Yeah, we're never on the same page when it comes to songs in our head.
Music
Except for We
references
Ready. We sang We Ready. I'm going to post that video. We sang together, even though she ain't know all the words. It's okay. But to play like YouTube, not YouTube. Pandora, I think has, I don't even listen to Pandora anymore, but I used to when I used to work.
What year is this, Carlie? Sheesh. Good title. You need a title subscription?
No, I need your password.
Got it.
But they have like a comedian section. Like, you can go listen to things on YouTube and just laugh just for 5 minutes. Like, laughter increases endorphins in your brain. Or call somebody who makes you laugh. Like, me and Lex was laughing at each other hilariously earlier because we're both delirious. I'll post that too.
Losing our minds.
Yeah, but to play
here.
like a little bit, just to taking a little bit of time to get your mind refreshed.
That's real. Because we both had like an attitude earlier because we were both doing like the most.
Dog.
And we was like trying to plan this, like meeting up to do the podcast.
And I had to get out the phone.
She was like, I got to get off the phone. I was like, all right, bet.
Bye.
Right. But then when she got over here, we were both like, yeah, we both about to have an attitude. But then we started laughing and joking. It's like, all right, because we get it. Like, it wasn't going to be anything personal, but sometimes it's just a long day.
It's a long day, bro. It's a long
day. Before we close out our tips, let's talk about sleep, because for me, like I said, I feel like I do stop for the most part. There's only been a couple of days I stayed up like really late. But I feel like I've been getting sleep, but it's just not enough. But then I feel bad if I'm asleep too much, or if I did get a lot of sleep, but then I'm still waking up feeling tired, and it's just like, yo, what's wrong with me? Like, that's why I'm like Googling, like, WebMD tells me I have every disease possible.
WebMD will tell you that you're going to die.
Boy, please, you have 10 hours to live. And you could be like, I have a headache. They'd be like, so tumor in your brain? Like, no, sir. But yeah, I just am tired, and I don't know what to do about resting or taking a break. It's like, I don't get it.
It's hard for me to speak on that because generally I sleep pretty well. Like when I sleep,
I'm sleeping, but it's just.
But no, I mean,
I'm
like
still
the
tired.
quality of my sleep is pretty good. But the chronic fatigue, I think that's a real thing. That if your body and your mind is so exhausted, also all the stimulants during the day.
Yeah.
Like
I
when
think for me, it's mental exhaustion and being drained mentally.
Yeah, your body's good, but your brain is like, dog, like we're tired. But also stimulants. So caffeine so close to bed affects the way that you sleep. Before I came over here, before I drove out here, I did a little meditation, took a little 5-minute nap during the Shavasana after my meditation, and I felt so much better. So there are some things that I do whenever I start to feel like my sleep isn't that great. There's like some yoga poses and sequences, some breathing, some meditation.
I do like that, because for me, one thing that is not hard for me to stop to take a break to do is, it's like no matter how much I have to do, when I really feel like my chest is about to start feeling tight, or I'm just like, my brain is everywhere, I will take a minute to be like, all right, breathe. I don't do like the really cool breathing exercises like Carlie does. But I'll just be like, all right, take some deep breaths. And I just kind of try to reset my mind. I don't know how to explain how I do that, but I just kind of reset, like, all right, like, you got this, like, think about everything. Or I will do a meditation, because I like how you can do the anxiety ones or the calming ones, or, whatever I feel like I need to do, like a quick 10 minutes. That doesn't ever feel like I'm wasting my time when I do that. No,
and 10 minutes is, I looked at you, y'all aren't watching, if y'all aren't watching the video, I gave her some really big eyeballs, because 10, girl, I be on 5. But even if you feel like I would love to do 10, but in my brain, I'm like, I need to do my time. So I only let myself do 5. I did 7 earlier. But if you're one of those people like, well, meditation's stupid or breathing is weird, just try to inhale really slowly through your nose for about 3 to 4 counts, and then exhale for 6 to 8 counts, just doubling whatever your inhale is, and try to fill up your belly with your breath, because your belly is connected to your parasympathetic nervous system, which when you're really, really stressed out, that's your fight or flight. And so whenever you start to slow down your breath scientifically, it starts to calm down that nervous system, and it kind of takes your body out of fight or flight, because when your body is in fight or flight, you cannot rest. Because imagine an animal, like if you're being chased by a bear, your body ain't resting. It's not thinking about anything but how to survive. And humans are the only species that can stress ourselves out from thinking about things and put our body into those states. And so breathing and meditation actually scientifically get your body out of that state and allow you to rest. So just try a couple of those. I'll link, maybe I'll link some things in the show notes that we can try. But that is like my last tip, is just like taking care of your body, whether that's exercise.
That's not everything.
Huh?
That's like everything.
I mean, yeah, it is.
What does taking care of your body mean?
That's what I was saying. So breathing, exercise, making sure that
Eating
you're
well.
eating, and eating and not junk. Like if you're eating hot Cheetos and pizza, like although those may be delicious, sometimes if you continuously eat those things, like you'll feel like crap. And so
You need those extra nutrients at that time, especially if you're like pulling all your brain power.
you do. And that's the one thing I will like give myself a pat on the back. Like today and yesterday, I was having a really long, stressful day. But like I had done my meal prep, and so I brought it with me, and I brought hella snacks, and I was drinking my water, and I didn't buy, any nonsense, because I was like, that's just going to make me feel worse and amplify everything that's going on. And subconsciously my body was like, just do it. But I was like, no, like I can't. Like I want to feel good.
Yeah, I think that is something that I need to do better of, because I definitely had like an extra large tub of popcorn with like hella extra butter yesterday.
I saw it in the picture.
It was hella, and I got that joy from me, and it was refillable, but I didn't refill it. But
Sure, she didn't.
And the extra huge icy, oh man, I was tripping. But
Man, I ain't had an icy in a minute.
man, that thing was hitting.
What
boy.
kind of icy you get? The blue
Wild
cherry?
Nah, I don't do that blue stuff. Wild cherry. Ooh, it was fire.
So we got a vouch.
It was fire. But that's all I have, I think, Carlie.
I lied, so I actually have one more. Sorry, y'all. My B.
Oh, this is a good one. That's important.
Reaching out for help. And I mean either a therapist or a friend or somebody who can hold you accountable or somebody who might understand. And I'm not saying you have to call them and be like, these are my symptoms and this is what I'm going through, but just somebody that you can talk to who can maybe help you see a different perspective. Because earlier I noticed that when we were using language to describe all the things we're doing, we were like, oh, we have to do this and we had to do this. But in all actuality, we get to do this. Like we're blessed to get to do this. Hey.
Ooh, perspective.
But perspective is everything. Like you can look at something one way and you're like, man, this is terrible. We had to do all these things. But at the same time, bro, like we doing what we want to do. Like we're living the life that we're creating the life that we want to live, and we're blessed to be here. That does not make this any easier though. Which is why it's important to have people that can remind you and be like, hey.
Dang, that makes me think of another one too. Shoot.
Oh, go ahead.
Going on
See?
forever.
Bow.
Going along with that is to not feel guilty. Because I noticed when I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was like, man, I'm going through it. And they were like, all right, well, tell me what's going on. And I was like, nah, like, I'm good. Because I know it's not anything, right? Like, it's something where you're just going to be like, all right, just work through it, cool, whatever. Like, I get it. Like, I felt bad saying that exhaustion and burnout was my biggest issue at the time.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah, I get it. Like, it's okay. Like, talk about it. Because I felt like I was wasting somebody's time to talk about that. Because it's like, dang, you're weak right now. But not being guilty about, like, if you're, like, struggling, like, you're just struggling. And it's okay.
Yeah, and you don't have to qualify it. Like, you don't have to qualify it compared to anybody else. Because a lot of times you can look at the world and be like, man, there's so much crazy stuff going on in the world. How dare I be upset about this one thing? But that is important in your world, and that means that it's important. So be kind to yourself and be loving enough to understand that people who love you and care about you will be there for that, too.
And shout out to my friend. It's so funny because, we talk about using the term friend, and I definitely respect her. Her name's Ashley. She lives in D.C., and
Shout
she's
out,
given
Ashley.
me, like, a lot of cool business tips. We've had conversations in the past. We're not besties in that. Like, maybe I need to do better and, like, check in on her, and we talk more. But I felt so special. My shout out for this episode is going to Ashley because the other day I was in the Uber headed to Vector 90 to go work with Carlie. Well, really, I was just on meetings the whole time. My bad. But I had, like, scrolled through my email real quick, and I saw it was, like, $25 gift card from Amazon. And I just saw, how you see the little window preview of what it is? And it was, like, from Ashley, and it was like, oh, I heard how you were exhausted, because I was tweeting about it. She's like, I heard you were exhausted. And then I didn't even get to read the rest of it yet because I didn't open it, because I didn't, like I said before, like I leave everything unread until I know I have time to really look at it. And just seeing that, I was just in the back of the Uber, and I was like, I was like a little fake tear, because I was like, I was really so touched, because I was like, man, like I'm just like so burnt out. I was so overwhelmed with everything. And just to know that somebody was thinking about you, or that they were thoughtful in that way, like it really, really made me feel good. And so then I really didn't even open it till the next day, because I was in 50 more meetings that day. But then she texted me, was like, hey, make sure you check your email. And so I had to let her know, like, oh, I saw it. Thank you so much. I feel so appreciated. And I appreciate you. And I let her know that. And it was also perfect timing, because I was trying to buy a book on Amazon. And for some reason, they weren't taking my stuff. So then I was like, bloop, perfect timing. But I appreciate that, Ashley, so much. And I appreciate people who are just thoughtful when you don't ask for it. And when people are paying attention, when you're not really, trying to be a complainer, you're not really trying to get people to do anything. But I was just exhausted. And that was just made me feel so much better. And anytime somebody is thoughtful like that with me, or even with their words too, it helps keep me motivated. I think a lot of people don't realize when they're telling you, like, oh, you inspire me or you motivate me, that, I like to hear those things too, because it helps me, because I'm like, I'm about to quit right now, but oh, thanks. Like, let me keep going.
You don't know how important those words are to
somebody.
somebody. And we've actually gotten so much good, I say actually, like I'm surprised, but we got a lot of good feedback about the podcast. Like, for real, y'all, thank you so much for being so thoughtful and taking time to, tell how it actually relates to your life, or you send it to somebody else because it meant a lot to you. Like, thank you so much. Like, that really means
Stuff
a
like
lot.
that we really appreciate. There's people who have helped both of us this last week and making us feel really special. So, Carlie, you could tell that person via text or via call or whatever it may be if you want to. Because you don't have to say it here.
Thank y'all for your thoughtfulness.
We appreciate that so much.
We do.
Question of the week. You thought I wasn't going to sing this episode, didn't you?
She sings every episode.
Do I? I don't think so.
You do. We just don't always post it.
Oh, that's real. Oh, man, this is a... Ooh.
Ooh.
Question of the week. Hashtag Carlie's Couch.
Screenshot it.
Carlie.
Let us know how you feeling. Let us know where you're at on the burnout scale, or how you deal with burnout, or how you deal with being tired.
Man, just tell us whatever you want to tell us.
Yeah. Just shout us out.
What's up?
So the question of the week
is, are you trying to master yourself or other people?
Dun, dun, dun. So I'm always trying to master myself. Like, for me, that's a no-brainer. I want to be the best me that I can be in everything that I'm doing. And even in this burnout, like it's a me thing that I need to work on my systems and how I'm taking care of myself, and how I can better, be a better friend and be a better entrepreneur, and a better worker for my clients, and a better trainer and a better coach, and just being kind to myself throughout the process. Like, I feel like, what is that quote? Because I'm a quote master. Well, that's what you called me.
Today.
Whatever. But it's like a true master, like, masters himself and like his mind, as a loud
Dr. Strange.
No, it's Lao Tzu or something. But he got it from him.
Give me the lion.
It's TZU, but I don't know how to correctly pronounce it. I apologize. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe.
But anyways, they said that you're trying to master your own mind and master yourself, and master instead of mastering other people. Like, it ain't about nobody else. Your life is you and what you're doing.
Okay. I'm going to keep it real. Are you trying to master yourself or other people? I 100% try to master people. And
you said keep it real, like I wasn't keeping it real.
I'm sorry. I'm going to keep it real for me.
There you go.
And say
cool.
that I do try to master other people. But I 100% try to master myself. I mean, I feel like that's kind of obvious. Like, I'm always very self-aware of what I do, which in this case is part of it, because I know that I'm super controlling, or I can be, and that's something that I'm aware of, and that I do catch a lot more and try to do less of, because exactly what you just said, that just leads to disappointment, trying to get other people to maneuver in ways that you want them to maneuver. And I find a lot of times that the way I might try to control situations or master other people is I'm trying to, like, by over trying to help somebody, like, I'm trying to, I want you to realize this about yourself, and I want you to see that this is what you can do here. I want you to think about doing this instead. But really, that's like not my place to do that, and
Yeah.
I don't have the bandwidth. That's one of the things also that I think takes a lot of my bandwidth sometimes, because I'm trying to manage or control a situation or control people that I can't control.
Nope.
And so that's one thing that I'm really trying to work on or be more aware about, and to like release that extra weight for that's there for no reason. But definitely trying to master myself as well. So again, I guess that kind of goes hand in hand in that I recognize that. But yeah, that's something that like takes too much energy.
It does, and I'm a reform. Like, I'm not here like, oh, I've never done like that,
Yeah,
because
of
I've
course.
definitely used to do that. But what I realize is like that's really none of my business, and you can stress yourself to death trying to control what other people are going to do.
That's
or trying
exactly
to
what I've been saying lately. As soon as I start having thoughts about like, oh, what is this person, doing
none of
this,
my
or is there
business.
something I can do? It's not my business.
Yeah,
It's literally not my business.
And it doesn't, like, you can do everything right and try to get the outcome that you want, but at the end of the day, other people have the same agency to do whatever and however they please.
Yep.
And you also can't take it personally. Speaking of the 4 agreements, going back to that book, we referenced it in one of the other episodes, but that's like the first one. It's like, don't take anything personally. Like, what I do, it literally has nothing to do with you. Like, for example, with one of my clients, like me being burnt out and maybe not sending them a proposal, it doesn't have anything to do with them. That was me not having my stuff together. Just bringing it back to
100%.
that.
So with that, I believe we're going to wrap up our episode on burnout.
Yes.
We hope that you guys are not feeling as burnt out as we are, but if you are, join us in this journey of getting rest and getting
Please.
relief.
And being kind to yourself.
Yes, forgiving yourself, and let's still get things done, but let's do it with the right mindset and, recognizing how we can continue to go forward without taking so much of our bandwidth and hitting the ceiling. So we're going to all be working on that, I guess.
Yeah. Shout us out. Let us know how you're dealing with the same thing or how you've dealt with it in the past. Like, would love any suggestion that we didn't mention, or like, yeah, I do that too. Any good books, articles, let us know.